everyone. This is Heather Box from the Million Person Project. And the Million Person Project is a global project about love, storytelling, and connecting change makers. And I'm excited to be here today with Lea Kaufman, who is an incredible healer and is reaching hundreds of thousands of people around the world and helping them heal. So thank you so much, Lea. I'd love for you to introduce yourself and to tell us a little bit about you and your work.
Thank you, Heather. It's a pleasure for me, an honor to be here today with you and all your audience. And I do this work based on the method that I create. It's called Movimiento Inteligente, which is a method that using your body and your movement allow yourself to connect with your inner self, and then you can improve your posture, you can get rid of pain, but the most important is that you can express yourself in the world in a more authentic way, using your body, your voice, and of course your words.
And you're doing this work online or in person, or how does someone interact with this work?
Yeah, we have this big platform online, but I also give workshops and lectures. In fact, in a few weeks, I'm going to be in Buenos Aires, and I travel a lot around the world sharing this work. And there is a lot of courses and workshops online, and I also have a professional training. So if you want to become a teacher of Movimiento Inteligente, now you can do it wherever you live because it's online. And I also have a book called Apodérate de tu cuerpo, Empower Your Body, that has been published. It's in all Latin America and Spain and also the States, but in Spanish. So yeah, there is many channels to reach and to connect with people.
And what is your work about for you? Why do you do this work?
Well, first of all, I do this work because I have like this calling to do it. I kind of always have this voice telling me that I have to create something, I have to do something. And when I was in college, I was studying different stuff. I was studying engineering, I was studying theater, and everywhere I have this voice that was telling me, oh, this is not what you have to do. This is not what you have to do. And then I learned this bodywork called Feldenkrais, and this voice starts to say, okay, this is what you have to do. So I was living in Uruguay. I traveled to Mexico to be able to study this, and I have been living there several years to doing my training. And then I started to work on this on a clinic, seeing people and maybe 8 clients a day. But still I have this feeling that this is not what you have to do, which was very annoying. At that point, I have been kind of changing my whole life, following that voice, and now I was again with the same saying. And one day I went to the beach and I was reading this book about the value that you bring to the world. And I realized that I can bring much more value if I do my stuff online and reach much more people. So I created my first website, and finally the core of my work was developing online. And then it was like, oh, okay, this is what I have to do, because I was able to integrate all my studies as an actress, as a performer, but also as an engineer, and of course as a body worker. I have been calling to do this. It's not something that I have kind of planned, something that it was happening step by step, and I just wanted everyone be able to connect with the power that it's hidden on their body, everyone to be able to really live in peace and happy on this first home that it's our body, and really to put the body again on this place that I think it has been lost, because we put the body now just like on the fitness world, just to look pretty, look nice, look fit, or in the medical world, and both approach are very mechanical in some way. You can fix the body, you need to put this here or lift this or put this down. And it's not like treating your body like the living organism that it is, and like the door that it is to your really inner self, and also, well, the vehicle to express this inner self. So I do what I do because I truly believe that if people can live more in peace on their body, they can live, we will have a much more peaceful world. This kind of knowledge, even if it has been around for several decades, since the 50s now, but it wasn't available for people, at least not in Spanish when I started. And I think everyone has the right to know this and to develop their own path and make peace with their bodies.
That's so beautiful to hear that journey of like, is this right for me? Is this right for me? No, it doesn't feel right. I feel a bigger calling for this. And it's incredible that when you felt the calling to put it out online, that you listened to it and you did it. And wow, how was it received? I mean, I know that you have a YouTube channel that's been viewed by people across the world, I think 180 something countries.
Yeah.
It's 10 million views. So what does that feel like to sort of take that point of no return step? Meaning like you're someone doing work in your community, in a clinic, and then next thing you are serving hundreds of thousands of people online with all of your video content, millions.
Yeah, it has been a journey also, because at the beginning, as I say, no one knows about this work in Spanish. So I was really amazed about how they receive it, how people was really needing this. So that's why it was so welcome. So at the beginning it was like, because you know how it is online, you are alone with your computer. It's not glamorous, it's not fancy. You have your crew to do your videos, of course, but finally it's you and your creative process and this invisible bond with your audience. Mm-hmm. So at the beginning, it was very weird because the numbers start to grow and grow very fast. And people, of course, they start to write. So I start like to have a relationship with my subscribers. But it was when I travel and people tell me in person how much impact the videos has for them. That's where I realized, oh my God, this is huge. Because before, it's not that they were just numbers, but it was abstract, mm-hmm. A million views or whatever. It was abstract. When I do my videos, I kind of think about one person, not one subscriber, one people. And I do my videos around questions that my audience ask me. So I really focus on one person, even if it can help millions of them. And then when I start to talk with people and hear how they use the videos, how they heal with the videos, then also when I say, oh, this is huge. Now it's kind of normal. And I also have this feeling that the videos or all my work, in fact, also the book has like their own journey, and that's what I love about internet, because you create something, but it's not yours. You just put it out there, and it grows by itself, and people use it in ways that you have no idea. If you are lucky, they tell you, but you have no idea what's going on, right, with the videos, with the materials. And I really like that, because it's that puts things on their place, that it's not about me, it's not me that I have 10 million views. It's the knowledge, it's the work.
Yeah, and what I love about what you're saying too is that sometimes if we're the viewer of some training video or fitness video or healing video or whatever it is, if we're the 900,000th person to watch it, we don't think that writing in to share our story of how this impacted us, we just think, oh, we're just one of many. We don't understand how that could impact you. And so It's really interesting to think about that and to think about what it means for us to share our stories and to share our gratefulness to someone for putting the free video online. That is a really good reminder to me. What are some of the stories of the ways in which people have healed using your methodology?
Oh, there is many stories. I think that the constant things that their pain goes away. So, I have been having this pain, but the doctor didn't help, the medicine didn't help, but I have been doing the video and it helps. It finally helped. Or also we have this video that has a lot of views. And in fact, that's one of the videos that have English subtitles, so you can look at it. It's how to speak in public without nervous. And that's great because there is a lot of teenagers that need to do oral exams. I don't know if you say that in English. Yeah. They are so cute, I have this exam and I use your tips and I was able to pass the test.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, people that have been in pain for a long time and it changed. But the most important thing for me, that's really why I do that, is that when people say, I am more aware now. Mm. I didn't feel my body on that way. I didn't think of my body on that way before. And now I know that if I do a conscious movement, I can feel better. If I do a conscious movement, I can stop the pain. And also when I do workshops, online or live, it's very interesting because people who came to my workshops, they usually have been doing the videos for a long time, or just maybe for a while, and their level of awareness is much higher, much higher than a person that just appear without no experience. And that always caught my attention, how they can become more powerful just with 5 minutes video, something that we sometimes say, how this is going to have an impact. And it has. It all depends on the intention that you put when you are doing the video or any material.
So doing this work and getting out to the world in the way that you have you ever hesitated to tell your story, or what has been your process of being able to tell your own story?
Yeah, of course. At the beginning, I didn't share so much personal stuff. I think everyone has this kind of fear to share your personal story, but in the other part is because, and that's why I love what you do, because we don't think we have something enough powerful to tell. And for me it was, I don't know what I should tell about myself, but I always use stories in some way, because people write me questions and they tell me things about themselves, so I use that for one to create the material. I think one of the keys of the success of the videos is that I explain a lot what's going on your body, which is kind of story also, because it's not just like the biological explanation, is what's going on with your conscious when you are doing this, or when are you on with your feelings, and of course with your body. And I think that makes the biggest difference. But of course, then little by little I start to share my story, especially when people start to ask me, okay, how did you do this? How did you get all these views? So people start to ask about my story. So I start to tell them how was my journey to get there. And then it was very interesting. Then I was able to engage much more with my audience, much more. And then I start to tell, of course, the personal stuff that I have been comfortable about, and it's very, very, very cute. They know my cat, they know my stuff, they know where I go on vacation, and that makes you very real, very human.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful. I mean, there's a lot of leaders out in the world who are still subscribing to a sort of old school style of leadership of like, here's my professional self and here's my personal self. My personal Instagram is private and I don't talk about my kids at work, or, it's not integrated to say, this is who I am. And these things, my cat, my kids, they're part of my power. What's your advice for a leader who is keeping their life separate?
Mhm. Well, I think that we are who we are everywhere all the time. We can try to hide it, but it's not going to work, it's not going to work anyway. And it's something that I work I work a lot with my clients around that. How you treat your body is how you treat yourself. And what do you do with your body on the context of the class? You do exactly the same on your life. We can think that, oh, I'm not going to share this, and they are never going to find out. And yeah, of course, they are not going to find out the details, but the energy that you put into stuff and how you do your stuff, it's really there all the time, and your audience know it. Maybe not in a conscious level, but they just feel it in some way. So you need to choose what are you going to share, what are you not going to, what are you feeling comfortable sharing. But I think that the fear to exposure, it's something very natural, but it's something that you can't let to lead your career or your life, because I think that when you have a personal brand, for example, it's not separate. It's a lie that it's separate. If you're an entrepreneur, your passion is your career, is your business, is your life. It's not something that you just do from 9 to 5. Like when I was an actress, people used to say, oh, you're an actress because you like to be watched. And I have this friend, and she always say, no, I'm an actress because I can take it to be watched. And I think it's the same here. You have just to be able to take it. Yeah, people is going to watch you, but that's not mean that it is about you. It's that what I say about the videos earlier, it's not about me. If I make it about me, about my problems, about my shiny self that doesn't want to be watched, that's selfish. It's about the message that you have to share and the inspiration that your story can bring. And it's okay to be afraid. Everyone is afraid. I am afraid, but you can choose to act in a different way. You can be afraid and still do your videos or do your article or do your lecture and wherever. You don't have to wait, because people think, oh, one day I'm not going to be afraid anymore and then I'm going to do it, and that's not going to happen. And also I think that we have to remember that we are kind. People is kind. And sometimes we think, oh, if I say this, they are going to criticize, or that's the fear at the end, or it's not going to be good enough. And on my experience, one of the fears that I had at the beginning, it was that I'm not a doctor, and I was like telling people how to get rid of pain, and I have this fantasy that the doctors were going to tell me that I was wrong, that's not right. Mm-hmm. And over 10 million views, I never got one comment around that topic. And that was my biggest fear at the beginning.
I think it's such an important message for people who are sort of sitting on the edge of their leadership. They've started a project and it's not as big as where their vision is, but they're sort of hesitating to take the next step, or they haven't started yet and they're still in that fear place. It's very important to hear what you're saying about that. With the Million Person Project, we have now worked with over 1,300 people from 65 different countries to really unearth their personal story and say it into the world. And a big part of it is owning the story and really feeling like, yeah, this is who I am. That story included too, whether or not the story was traumatic or sad or we wish it didn't happen, it's still part of who we are. And one of the very interesting things that used to be a real surprise to me is that when people get up in front of the room for the first time and share their story, sometimes they look different. Like their whole body, they look taller. And sometimes I used to go to Julian afterwards and say, that guy grew. Like he looked so different. Like of course he looks the same, but there was something so different about him after he shared his story. And I was wondering, you know, as someone who works with bodies and emotions and the interconnection of them, if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. I think that's what you describe. For example, when you go to a dance show and there is one dancer that you just look at her all the time. Mm-hmm. And usually it's not the prettiest, it's not even the more talented, but there is something about her. And that's her presence, her power to be on the moment, owning herself. And I think it's the same with your story, that you need to be really present with yourself, very honest, to say, okay, this is what it is, this is what happened. I'm just gonna share it in a very honest way. So I think that has a lot to do with the presence that you bring to yourself, to your past, and of course to your audience. And the body has a lot to do there. When you are feeling your body, really feeling, where is your weight, where are your feet, you know, where is your head, your shoulders, your presence increase, because now it's on the sensation, you know, it's on the body. So when you are feeling the support of your bones, you are feeling your real strength, and from that place, you can speak your truth. The presence gives you something that for me it's fundamental, that it's when you are on your body, present, you speak from today. And your story, you can share it when you are in the now. When you are still dealing with the stuff, if you have some traumatic event or whatever, you are not really here, you know. But if you are here, you can look back and bring the best of it for you, for your life, and of course for your audience.
So one question that I have is, in your story, when you're saying that you were following this sign and then this didn't feel right, and there was a voice that said, you know, this isn't right for you, or this is right for you. We hear that so much about this voice of kind of clarity, that this isn't your path, or this is your path. And for a lot of us out there, it's not that clear. Like we don't hear the voice like that. So was it actually like you hear a voice, or can you explain to us that process so as we think about our lives, we can incorporate it?
Yeah, I hear voices. Yeah, and I think it's two things. Yes, when I start to have this feeling, I can say it was like a voice. I say that now, it was more like a feeling. I of course, I have been always being very kinesthetic, so I have this uncomfortable myself that it was just all my body telling me, you don't have to be here. You just, you know, this is not your place. You don't have to be here. And I was, I don't know, 18, 19 years old. So I didn't know how to deal with it. I just thought that I was wrong. And I think that this is the beginning for all of us. When we start to get that kind of connections with our inner self, at the beginning we say, no, I'm wrong. I need to be normal. You know, why I need to get an engineer job. I need to get a normal job. Why I feel so uncomfortable everywhere. You know, there's something wrong with me. That was my first relationship with that. But in some point, and I think that's happened to many people, that uncomfortable feeling is so big that you can't ignore it. And then when I start to meditate, I recommend everyone, I start to become more and more connect with myself. Yeah, and sometimes it just happen when I am in the nature, or when I'm meditating, or where I am doing my own practice of movement. And I think it's just yourself, you know, your true self telling you something. And I think also that this appear in different ways, in different moments of your life, and also for different people. It can be a dream, it can be just a certain, but I think that the common feeling is something that you try to avoid, but you can't.
In closing, I would love to just hear who has been one of your teachers? I know you probably have many, but like who has been someone who has really influenced your life and had a big impact on who you are?
Yeah, well, I think I would like to mention an American teacher that I have that's called Alan Questel, and he was my mentor on this bodywork for a long time. And if there is something that I learned from him, it was just to be myself. We have been working together for many years, and he always had this faith on me that I was going to be able to do whatever I want. And he has this presence on himself, and he's also someone who totally owns his story and who is all the time telling people about his mistakes and his funny stories and when things didn't go right to them, and that's his way to connect with people, and he's just amazing. I think that if I have to say a few things that I have been learned from him, it's to listening more deeply, to believe in myself, and to share whatever you are or you have been going through in your life, just to help others.
Well, thank you so much, Lea. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah, I love it.
Could you please share with us, with our viewers, how they can get in touch with you and be a part of your movement and your healing?
Yeah, they can go to my website, leakaufman.com. There, most of the material is in Spanish, but there is also an English session, a very short one for now, but they can find in there, and they can find me on Twitter, Lea Kaufman, and also on Facebook, and of course on YouTube as Lea Kaufman. And we have a gift for them. That it is a webinar that it's in Spanish, of course, that I gave not so long time ago. It's about how to take care of yourself. And I choose this topic to share with your audience because I think that you need to take care of yourself to be able to give to 1,000 or to 100 or just a few people, but you need to be really in contact with yourself, and you need to have your inner support to be able to do that. So on that webinar, they are going to find a lot of movements and attitude and mindset about how to take care of yourself. And there is also a little bit about my story, because I did that webinar. My mother died like a year ago, and a week after that, I started my book tour. So it was a very demanding time of my life because I was, giving lectures with hundreds of people, and I have just to be there and be present for them. And I have been going through all this pain and grief. So I share the tools that I learned during that period, that it was several months traveling around the world, where I learned, how to be able to be with my feelings, not to deny them. That's what we usually do, okay, to be able to be with others. So how you can be with yourself and your process, and at the same time you can be with others.
Well, thank you so much, Lea, for joining this conversation, for offering a gift to our viewers, and also just offering the gift of your presence here in this conversation, and sharing yourself and sharing vulnerably and being open. So thank you so much. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. Thank you.